world stands at a crossroads, a moment of reckoning. Israel's actions have gone beyond reason, beyond humanity itself. The cries of Palestine echo across borders, louder than ever, as the unthinkable unfolds. Prime Minister Anwar Ibrahim has broken the silence, delivering a fiery call to the world, urging decisive action against what he calls Israel's relentless genocide, and demanding a response that could change the course of history. Suspension, expulsion, sanctions. No longer just words, but urgent necessities.
Israel no longer belongs within the civilized community of nations, and its barbarism demands nothing less than decisive action to safeguard not just the Middle East, but the entire global order. 50 years ago, the world was so horrified by the atrocities in South Africa that the United Nations General Assembly took the unprecedented step of denying its government a seat of the assembly. Israel, however, has gone beyond the pale, beyond reason, beyond humanity itself in its vile and blatant perpetration of genocide of the people of Palestine. These cumulative acts of violence against an entire nation leaves us with no choice but to demand the swift and effective action of the international community, including embargo, suspension, and even expulsion. In its relentless campaigns, Israel has now struck at the very heart of the international community's lifeline for Palestine, by targeting the United Nations Relief and Works Agency for Palestine refugees. By barring UNRWA from operating, Israel is causing the collapse of the world's humanitarian response, cutting off the most basic means of survival in Gaza for those who have already lost so much. We must put an end to this continued senseless carnage and take immediate steps to furnish more effective protection for the UNRWA. We must accord better protection for the UN peacekeepers in Lebanon, comprising nearly 50 nations, including Malaysia, who have been attacked and terrorized by Israeli forces. The international community must act swiftly and forcefully. As an immediate measure, we must push, as Malaysia did at the UN General Assembly in September, to impose an immediate arms embargo against Israel. Nevertheless, the severity of Israel's assault on humanity's most basic rules of international compact deserves consideration of a more serious response. For the sake of not only the Palestinian but humanity itself, we must punish and deter Israel's repeated violations of international law and norms. We should therefore build a consensus towards suspending or even expelling Israel from the United Nations itself. Israel's trail of atrocities has already spread into Lebanon, Yemen, Syria, Iraq, and Iran. If the world turns away now, this violence will not remain contained. It will ignite a fire that threatens to engulf the entire region and the rest of the world. At the end of the day, the most aspects of our concern are the victims. It is therefore imperative that we redouble current efforts to help rebuild Gaza from the ruins of destruction. Of crucial importance is implementing the plans without any undue delay. We must draw a line in the sand, not only as Muslims, but as fellow humans, united and bound by our fragile mortality and committed to a simple truth, a wish for a safer, kinder world for our children and the generations to come. Thank you.
على كلمته. والآن أدعو فخامة الرئيس رجب طيب أردوغان رئيس الجمهورية التركية لإلقاء كلمته، فليتفضل.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. sayın devlet ve hükümet başkanları, kıymetli heyet üyeleri, değerli kardeşlerim,
Today, I stand before the world with an undeniable truth. Israel has crossed every boundary of humanity. It has become a terror state, relentlessly attacking innocent civilians, mercilessly bombarding Gaza, and violating every principle of international law. What we are witnessing is not self-defense. It is genocide, occupation, and invasion. The values that the Western world claims to uphold, justice, freedom, human rights, are dying in Gaza, with every child lost, with every family destroyed. The very essence of humanity fades. We cannot remain silent. This is not just a Palestinian issue. It is a global crisis. Israel's violence has spilled into Lebanon, Syria, Yemen, Iraq, and Iran. If the world continues to turn a blind eye, this fire will spread, threatening the stability of the entire planet. It is time for decisive action. We demand an immediate arms embargo on Israel. The international community must consider serious consequences, including the suspension or even expulsion of Israel from the United Nations, until it abides by the rules of international law. The world must draw a line in the sand. As Muslims, as Christians, as Jews, and as fellow humans, we are united by one simple truth: a wish for a safer, kinder world for our children and the generations to come. Let history remember not the silence of the world, but the courage of those who stood up for justice. Let Gaza rise from the ruins. Let Palestine breathe freedom. And let us build a future where no nation, no child, and no innocent soul is ever crushed beneath the weight of oppression again. The line has been drawn in the sand. This is not just a battle for Palestine, it's a fight for the soul of humanity. As Anwar Ibrahim warns, if the world turns away now, the flames will spread far beyond Gaza, threatening global stability. The question remains, will the international community finally rise and act, or will silence pave the way for more suffering? The world watches, the world decides.